everybody, and welcome back to my painting channel. I just wanted to share this little watercolor with you today, and it's going to be a cloud, and it's going to be an evening sunset situation. It was actually a cloud that I saw over the bay where I live at Dymchurch one evening not that long ago, but it was just a beautiful fleeting moment of beautiful reds and blues, and oh, it's just awesome to see. And I just wanted to paint that for you today. So what I'm doing is I'm putting an initial wash on of a pinky red, sort of vermilion and magenta mix, and then adding some beautiful cerulean blue into that, so you get this complementary contrast working between the warms and the cools. And I'm using a spray bottle a lot in this demonstration. It activates the surface ahead of the bead and allows the paint to a certain degree to go wherever you wish it to go. I say that with a caveat because you can't control it totally, but at least with a little bit of care you get it doing roughly where you want it to be and roughly what you want it to do. Putting magenta into that cerulean too is just awesome. It makes a wonderful, beautiful violets and purples. Now I've added in some reds, and I'm going back in with some magentas, some violets, as I bring that color all the way down to the base of the painting. So you can see the sense of the warmth in the cloud already, and that paint has just dissipated and moved into just fusing with all the rest of it, which is great. Adding a lot more water to the surface. Now it is already wet, and I do stress that you need to have a watercolor block of some description. This actually is a Winsor & Newton block of a 140-pound hot press pad. So it's tension, so it's sealed around the edges. So as the painting or the paper gets very wet, when it dries, it will dry flat. And that's the whole idea. The only other way you can do it is to have it tape down and stretch, which is a lot more messing around. They're not always conducive. I'm just adding a lot more magenta into the which will form the reflection over the sea, but you can see I'm adding lots and lots of water. Now the more water I do, the more it will become it becomes diluted, and to stop that, or to stop ending up with a wishy, almost washed out painting, add a lot more pigment to the start, and then when you add the water it will dilute, but it will still look something at the end of the day. And by moving that painting here, this way, that way, you get the paint moving all over the place, but it's controlled to a point. As I said, the painting will paint itself in a way, but you do need to have a little bit of control, or at least a little bit of awareness of where you're putting color and what you think by moving it one way or another it will do. So with that in mind, you just progress. But it's such a wonderful way of experimentation with your painting. It really is. And you know, at the end of the day, there also are no hard edges. At least that's what I'm trying not to achieve. I don't really want that many hard edges, other than the final details of what will be the waves in the foreground. I'm cleaning up, constantly cleaning up, because the paint will get underneath the tape if you're not careful, and it can easily happen. So invariably, if you're unlucky with it, you're going to get bleeds underneath, but it's not the end of the world. You just, when you come to frame it and match it up, you just go straight to the painting as opposed to leaving white space. It's not the end of the world. Now there's a couple of little niggly bits of hairs that I've got in the painting. I don't like them there, and I do try and get them out, because sometimes the paint can actually puddle around that little hair and create something. It will brush off when it's dry, of course it will, but not always what I want to happen, and leave a colourful mark of where it was laying. Adding some warm colours again. I'm predominantly using my warms of magenta and vermilion, and a touch of transparent orange in there at the same time. But I'm just looking at reinforcing the top of those clouds, and before I go in there with some darker colors or violets to form up the base of the cloud. So at the moment it's sort of just feeling my way and blocking in. Now I've let that dry, and I'm coming in with these stronger violets, and they're being made up with indigo and a little bit of magenta, and you just saw me put in some ultramarine blue into the base of it, and I'm forming the line. Now this actually, I think, is the first cloud that's going in the base of that, but there was a secondary line of clouds which I did put in later. More spray, more activation, allowing that paint to flow and do a little bit of what it wants to do under my care and attention. Now I'm going to add some deeper blues, a little bit more ultramarine going in. I'm trying to form the top part of the cloud and its base, and at the same time suggest the secondary cloud underlying the first one. And by reinforcing that dark across the top and spraying it out, allowing that paint to bleed back into the blue sky, it forms a darker section which highlights the edge of the cloud and the pink forms. And again, you're not going to stop it doing too much. It's going to blend, it's going to move, but it's more of a suggestion. This whole painting is about the transience or the fleeting moment of the cloud and the light. A few minutes later, and the sun had gone down so far that this whole scene changed. And that, to me, is what's so exciting about trying to paint and recreate that light that I saw for that few moments. I've actually now trying to lift out some of the colors of the blue with my lift out brush. All the brushes I'm using here are Rosemary brushes. I know it's a bit of a plug because I believe in the company and I believe in the brushes they do. And this is a 1/2 inch chisel or an angular brush, which I really love because you don't need that many brushes on the go. That one will do a nice fine point, it will do a flat side, it can do a long line. It's so versatile. And here I'm just putting in some violets, suggesting the clouds and the edges of the cloud underneath, and then the final cloud base. And there's actually more indigo gone into that with a little bit of orange in there or a little bit of red just to take the blue to the warm and suggest that. But it's all going to get sprayed now with color, with water, and allow it to flow and let it just disperse itself and do what it wants to do. But you can still see the essence on the underlying tones of the weight of the cloud and the weight of the secondary one as it's coming down to the horizon where the sea is. And, you know, lifting out and just playing with the edges now and lifting out bits of paint where I do want to give the sense of the edge of the other cloud. And I'm going to put in a little bit of cerulean blue now. It's not because I'm suggesting the sky behind it. It's more as an influence. It suggests the harmony by using the same blue somewhere else than other than the blue in the sky above. It just creates a harmony. It will fuse. It won't look so cerulean blue. But the brain, or when you look at the painting, you'll pick it up and it creates a harmony over the whole thing. Now I'm going to turn the painting upside down because I really need to work on this cloud but without touching or contaminating. So what I want to do is have all that paint come towards me, and the whole of the angle of this all the way along has been on an incline. Very shallow one, but on an incline. And what I'm doing is I'm putting a bit of neat cerulean blue in to suggest clouds that are further in the distance and behind the big cloud itself, but they will merge. When you see this come the other way up, when I turn the painting back round, you'll see that I'll have sprayed it and that blue will disperse into the violets and become less and less important. And by spraying it, you can see the dispersal of the pigment, and that's the way it just loses itself. It really just worked nicely. So you can just see a little bit of the blue left as it goes into the cloud. Now I'm going to use some of the reds and the magenta and the vermilion to start to reinforce the structure on the top part of these clouds. It's all about the warms and the cools. It's this hot and cold color combinations that make this painting work. And that's really what I've been trying to do, is just have or recreate this wonderful sense of the evening. I'm adding some more magenta, and one of those hairs I got in the way again. Such a nuisance sometimes. A brush drops a hair or something in the atmosphere just lands, and you can't do a lot with it. You just have to work with it and get rid of it if you can. Too much messing around, you can destroy the surface of the painting. But anyway, moving on, I'm using magenta predominantly to give in some lovely warmth and weight to these clouds. And now I've just decided to get into the foreground. This is really the shore. This is the wet sand in the, at the edge of the sea. And I just wanted to sort of set that up so we start looking at some perspective to this, because we do need something on the ground to give me some perspective to the cloud. Otherwise, it just doesn't really mean an awful lot. So I'm now mixing up some blues, and I want to go in on the sea, and I've used the Aureolin again because it just works. It works on the sea, but the paint is wet enough to play around, and to use that spray bottle again and a real steep angle, I can actually start dispersing that color and allow it to flow and form and move and merge, all these things. And you can see what a lovely effect that has done, because there is almost a mirrored effect to the cloud above, but you actually don't know that it is, and it's not that obvious, but the brain sort of tells you that that's what's going on. I'm recreating now some warm oranges and reds to create a ripple in the water, just a suggestion, nothing too serious. They will merge and they will fade into the color, but once again it's that lovely blue and red, that warm and cold. It just happens to really work so well as complementaries. And that's dried, and now I'm putting a little bit more of some yellows with siennas and blues into what are a gentle wave form. Nothing much, just a very gentle wave coming in and caressing the sand in front. It's not going to be that detailed, and it's not going to be that strong. It's just a little bit. A little bit more definition into these more subtle waves in the foreground, and I'm using more of the browns and the yellows again, but what I also want to do is to give them a little spray at the same time. I want the front lead edges to disperse themselves into the foreground a little bit more, so they're going to be sprayed, and then I want the whole painting to dry up. Now I'm going to turn it upside down, and I really want to work into the area between the sky and the sea. So I'm using a masking, and I'm just spraying the water on, but this masking is stopping the water go where I don't want it to go. So to that end, I can control the line that I need that defines the sea from the sky. And I'm putting in indigos and ultramarine and magentas just to show you that clear definition. It's not a hard edge, it's still soft, but it's still there, and it will still blend and look good, and it will be that separator between land and sea, as I said. I'm adding in some darks into the bases of the cloud once more, but I don't want hard edges. The only hard edges that I want are those that are directly underneath my brush now, where the top of the cloud becomes the focal point. That's where I want to draw everybody's attention when they first look at the painting. So the rest of it, I'm just putting a gentle spray again, just to lose some of those edges that are just clearly a little bit too harsh. And it becomes fleeting again. It becomes a painting of the now and not anything else. Okay, that's all done, and I just wanted to take this quick opportunity to welcome my two latest patrons to my Patreon channel. That is Judy and Teresa. Guys, thank you so much for coming on board and becoming patrons. Your support in my endeavours is invaluable, as is the support of all my other patrons. Without you guys, I couldn't spare the amount of time that I'm doing to add the content or create the content that I'm also doing right now for both Patreon and for my YouTube channel. And that said, if any of you who are watching this would like to see more full content, i.e. the full paintings, not just of these ones that you see on YouTube, but also others that I'm putting on that are exclusive to Patreon, then why not hop over there to the Patreon channel, to my site. The detail or the link is in the details below. Check it out, and if there's something on there you like, for the price of a cup of coffee or so each month, you can avail yourself of so much more of my tutorials and content that I'm putting there and adding to all the time. So check it out, and if there's something you want to do, please get involved. You'll be so very, very welcome. That all said, if you've watched this and you've enjoyed it, hey, give it a thumbs up. Give it a like, and even share it. That would be fantastic, to share it with your friends and let people know that the content's there to be seen. In the meantime, why not subscribe to the channel? If you've enjoyed what you've seen, you would like to see more, then subscribe and it'll let you know each time I add more content. And by that note, I try and am trying each Thursday to add a new video. So click that subscribe button and check out every Thursday, because there's a new one being updated all the time. And so far, I haven't actually missed one. So in the meantime, guys, it just remains for me to say, enjoy this. Thanks for watching. Happy painting. Hey, and have a go yourself. Get them paints out and have a go yourself. In the meantime, I catch you all soon. I catch you next Thursday. All the best. Bye-bye for now. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you've enjoyed this, please hit the like button and add your comments. They'll be very welcome and always answered. And if you're not a subscriber, please hit that subscribe button now. And for your information, there's another video there and another video there. All the best. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Bye-bye for now. Bye.